Welcome to Tahu Talks. In this electrifying episode, I welcome our whanaunga from another maunga, Henare Kaa, the dynamic lead singer and drummer of Otautahi's own Dillastrate. Henare opens up about his upbringing and candidly discusses his journey with ADHD, sharing how it's shaped his life and music. Join us for an inspiring conversation that blends personal stories with a celebration of the vibrant local music scene. Henare Kaa. No mai, haere mai. Welcome to Tahu Talks. Thanks for coming through.
No worries. Thank you for having me here. I love this place.
A bit of a change from our normal interviews that we do in the studio for radio.
Yeah, a bit of a scucks grade.
So I actually didn't know, but I thought you were Ngaitahu this whole time.
No, I just naturally thought it was, whanaungas from another maungas type thing, but...
Yeah, well, I didn't click until, because you always use that term whanaunga from another maunga, but I meant like from another Ngaitahu maunga.
Well, yeah, I've been here for my entire life.
Yeah.
Even though the, Hikurangi's where it's at.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's in more of the Port Hills.
So you're Ngāti Pro?
Yep, aye.
And your marae?
O Hene Waipu.
And where's that?
Rangitukia. She's far up the east coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only been there once.
Really?
A long time ago. My dad is was born and raised in Gisborne. Yeah. Born and raised in Gisborne, moved to Hakatere, Ashburton.
And is that where you met your mum?
Yep. Like every classic Kiwi relationship, meeting in the most romantic of areas, the shearing sheds.
Oh, true. Both sharers.
No, just my dad.
Oh, okay. What, your mum just hanging out there?
Yeah, I don't know why I laughed about that. It was probably her. She was, I don't know, deep in sharing some sheep ass, just, your dad.
Yeah.
What you looking at, And I think Dad was he was the shearer. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Ashburton?
Yeah, Hakatere. Well,
What's the population there?
I don't know, 3. No, there'd be about 30,000 maybe.
Oh, yeah.
in that general area. Everyone lives super close. Everyone knows each other.
And what do you do in Ashburton for fun as a kid?
Before phones,
Yeah.
everything.
Hard.
Climb trees,
Yeah.
break into the showgrounds. Nah.
If you know.
If you know, you don't know. No, but it was awesome because we lived like a block away from school, so we'd go there all the time.
What type of kid were you?
What type of kid was I?
Yeah.
What type of kid was I? Loud, distracted. I don't know. I had no problem being by myself or being in a group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have a conversation with someone and have a conversation with myself.
Yeah.
Same combo. I enjoyed. Yeah, I don't know. Just like any normal kid, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come from had a roof over my head and got fed, and 2 supportive parents. So made the most of it. Well, what I knew, what I could do.
And have you got siblings?
Yes, I got 2 younger siblings, a brother and a sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the oldest, the Matamua.
Yeah, I am the Matamuaks, yeah.
So we've known each other for years now through your music, and I've seen you perform in multiple different bands. But I want to talk about something that you publicly speak about. You're an advocate for ADHD, and I want to, because I know you on a music level, but I want to really get to know the Henare Kaa, how you came to be the man that you are today, and your journey through being diagnosed with ADHD. So how old were you when you were first diagnosed?
Like 11 or 12? Yeah. And obviously the diagnosis process back then was fresh. Like today, it's quite a lot easier to get diagnosed. It's a lot shorter time frame. Back then it was like almost a year. There was like back and forth. how do you put it? There was like, it wasn't just a few meetings seeing one person, it was like whole family involvement. It was more about we need to cancel things out in order to make sure that this is it, because it was fresh, people like, it was like new, and back in a time where you grew out of it.
Oh, okay.
And it was predominantly kids that were diagnosed. It wasn't till later on that adults got the diagnosis. So yeah, I was quite young when I got diagnosed. It was like year 7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what prompted that to happen?
I think what the story is there was like someone touring around schools, or who was happened to be in Ashburton, doing a talk on ADHD, and my mother went to it and listened to this person talk and was like, oh my God, this guy is like literally just defining my son.
Oh yeah.
Like everything he says, like, yep, oh, yeah. And, kudos to my mum. She was the one that was like, because I obviously at that time, year 5 and 6, obviously some troublesome years. Good years though. Where, trying to get an answer for, I just couldn't pay it. I just couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
Always sitting out on the steps, or, having the behavioural problem. And regardless of what the teachers thought, there was, I've been a teacher myself, and there's things that you're always going to be ignorant to, and back then it was that, they were like, he hasn't got that. I don't even know what that is. He's just got a bloody behaviour problem.
Right.
But my mum was like, no, he has this.
Yeah.
And we went through the process, and oh my God, am I glad she did.
Yeah. There must have been a lot of stigma around back then, a lot of, uneducatedness, like, as you mentioned, your teacher, he doesn't have that, kind of like brushing it off kind of thing. So when you entered into the system of like being diagnosed and stuff, what was that whole journey like too? Do you think your race was a bit judged as well?
Oh, absolutely. They would put me in an environment where they would have to cancel out the idea of domestic violence.
Yeah.
They're like, maybe he's this because of this. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was written on the wall, Like, it's just something that, it's growing up in Ashburton, that is predominantly, Pākehā populated town, where, you're the token boy in the classroom, and you're the one with who's hyper, the distractor, the behaviour problem. As much as that's never going to be written down on paper, it was definitely a factor. Yeah.
So how did your parents, kind of like navigate through that? Did they get any support from elsewhere, or?
I guess it's just strong will. My mum's very strong-willed, both of them are just supportive of each other, and, they wanted to do what's best for us, and they fought hard, and super stoked they did. Yeah. Not everyone gets that. So I'm always fortunate that I did.
What does being diagnosed with ADHD look like tests and things like that? It's probably changed now.
It is changed now. Like they go through like obviously it's modified and it's shorter, expensive. But it's I actually can't because I had to go back and do a re-diagnosing thing for medication later on in life, and the process was a lot different. It was like asking questions about how I did things, and then it was you've got it, and I was like, well, I've known that, but cheers. It's like, oh, you got ADHD. It's like, is it not written on my forehead? The process is a lot different, and I did it for the idea of like for medicinal purpose, so because I was medicated for my high school years, and then I stopped to go to university, and then I started back on, but I wasn't on it for very long. It's not my vibe.
Did the medication help though?
The medication does help. Yeah. Like I think it depends on who's taking it. I guess I found that in a creative sense it wasn't very helpful. I couldn't be as sporadic. I couldn't be like writing and then counting the tiles on the ceiling at the same time. 6 conversations ahead of myself. Which I think, as a creative, I think there's, that the impulsive part of ADHD is like I feel comes in handy with creating and in a high pressure environment or whatever.
Yeah.
Or performing. So yeah, I haven't been medicated for a while now. So which is great. I love it. There's obviously it gets rid of the cloud. Yeah. Like there's a lot of times where you could be like the procrastination is a Hundies thing. Yeah. And I know it's a big thing for everyone, but it's like because ADHD is such a we're like dopamine hunters, we're like constantly looking for that stimulation, which is I'm very lucky I can get it from what I do, as a performer. But it kind of the medication I felt sort of provided that, leveled things out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it became really boring. You're sitting there like, instead of,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'd rather, like especially if I haven't been a father, I'd rather be I'd rather be animated than in a statue.
Yeah. Is there much mātauranga Māori out there about ADHD?
That's the thing I've started to look at. It's just because it's like, like the whole value system in Te Ao Māori kind of makes sense. Yeah. It nurtures that everyone. It just works for everyone. For everyone.
How so? What's the differences from both sides that you've experienced?
Well, one makes sense and the other doesn't. Yeah. No, even though it is so simple and like everything I learned, everything I learned along the journey of, especially in the Waitareo Māori space, there's like a comfort in it. There's an ease in it. There's like I feel safer in it. You know what I mean? Like I feel.
Why is that?
That unexplained ihi one thing. The vibe that you get from the emotion that you attach to what you do. Like whakapapa to that, it's like a deep rooted thing that you can't describe. It just flows, and I feel that the more and more I dip my feet into that world, the more and more I feel comfortable in my own ADHD skin. Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually looked up. Do you know the Māori word for?
Rere rotini?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Attention goes many ways. Yeah. I love that. My son, I know he has autism. Yeah. And I'm waiting for him to get assessed as well. Mm-hmm. And when I had a kōrero with the nurse, straight away her question was, well, what are your main concerns? And I said, I'm not concerned about anything. I'm wanting to understand my son more and to see if there's things that I'm not doing that I could do to help support him and understand him more. For me, Western ways have never worked. I was lucky enough to be raised in Te Ao Māori, so I know our ways work for our people. Yeah. And I totally understand the kōrero behind finding out the whakapapa, and even that there are atua that relate to these gifts, because they're gifts. They're not disorders. We don't see them as disorders. We see them
as superpowers.
Superpowers, abilities. So I was told by an auntie of mine who works in the Ministry of Education, like when my son was 4, he's 9 now, and I'm still waiting to get him assessed. And she told me, you need to watch out for the schools once you put him into school, because he lives in 3 different worlds, because he's trilingual, speaks Italian, Māori and English. I only speak Māori to my son. His dad only speaks Italian to him. He's only been to Kohanga Reo and Kura Kaupapa, did 1 year of preschool. But she noticed things about him and said, you need to watch him when he goes to school, because they're going to try and label him with things that he's really not. And he goes to Kura Kaupapa, and they have a rongoa practitioner there. So he goes and visits the rongoa practitioner to receive Māori medicine and Māori mirimiri to help align the body and stuff. And he likes to be on his own a lot. When he is happy, he claps, like non-stop claps, but repeats himself a lot, asks the same questions, has to stay in the same routine every day. You know, he has to eat the same thing every day. He has to listen to the same music that we play in the car every day, and it has to be, you know, him in control of the music so that he can choose the same music every time. But his memory is really good. Like, you tell him your birthday or your name, he'll remember it forever. You know, in class, he gets his work done quite quickly, his teachers tell me, so he gets bored real quickly, and will get overstimulated with the group of kids in the class, so they'll let him go off and have his little me time on his own in the playground and stuff. Otherwise, he'll just wander off from class by himself, because he started doing that when he started school, like just wandering off by himself, leaving class all the time. And so the school, they could have been really like supportive of supporting my son and understanding him more. And I feared going to the doctors to get him assessed, because I didn't want my son being labelled with something that they see as a disorder or a disability and get my son medicated. So I avoided it for a long time in fear of the system, you know, and tried a different route with Te Ao Māori, which has worked well for my son so far. And then I found out other whānau members have autism as well, which is really cool, because what I really want is to connect with other whānau, with other children or whānau that have autism, to better understand my son and to connect him with other people too, so that he doesn't feel alone, judged, criticised, doesn't feel like the weird one or the different one, because I can see it sometimes in people when they're around my son. And so I totally understand with your mum going to fight for you and stuff like that, and I give it up to your mum as well for, you know, fighting for you, because it takes a really brave person to do that, because she would have felt the same fear for you.
100%.
Going through that.
And I that's the thing, it's like, I was a teacher for 8 or 9 years, or however long it was. And I loved my job. I loved the kids. I encourage people to fight that. You have to fight it. Like, we have this system, right, that at the moment don't want to make any changes. They don't want to bring in certain things. They don't want to bring in Te Ao Māori. And when it does, they find any way to get rid of it. And everyone jumps on board with it. And then they paint it with, there's like a drop in numeracy and literacy. Therefore, things need to change. And it's like, well, then change it. Because they're not. The reason why numeracy and literacy is dropping, people are realising that the system that they have doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
It works for a small group of people. And the ones who thinks it works for are usually the first to complain when it doesn't work, and they blame everything else around it, apart from the main cause. So, yes, classic example. My mother fighting the school system in order to get it across the line that this is what he has. And newsflash, it now comes from professionals that he does. The biggest war was, oh, he doesn't have that, he has a behaviour problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's the flaw in the system is people's fear and naivety to it ever being wrong.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, oh, well, that's not what I know. And you're like, oh, cool. Or, oh, another one getting rammed down my throat. It's like, ain't no one ramming nothing down your throat. The narrative's, oh, it's getting worse. It's like, well, then how are you changing it? Because they're like, well, they need to get rid of this. And it's like, well, that's not even in there. You know, there's too much there's too much emphasis on te reo in this schooling. There's not at all. When it comes to languages at school, it doesn't even rank in the top, right? People see the idea of learning languages like Spanish, French, and Japanese. Like, I get that. Awesome. Yeah. I get that. Because you need it when you go overseas.
Yeah.
Oh, and my kid might need it when they go to France. When?
Yeah.
When do they go into France? You know? Yeah. I watched this amazing thing the other day of, which makes so much sense. The more and more I travel, the more and more I see it, is as soon as you step outside the boundaries of New Zealand, people take way more interest in you because you're Māori. Big countries like in Asia, they want to come and experience Māori. They come here for kia ora, not hello there.
Yeah. What was high school like for you then?
High school was interesting because you're obviously going through the adolescent changes,
Because you went to Aranui High School too, eh?
Yep.
And you're still living in Ashburton.
Yep.
We were talking about this in a radio interview once, and you told me that you would bus
every morning
from Ashburton to Aranui High School, and I asked you why, and what did you say?
I can't remember.
Do you remember? You said, why not?
Oh yeah, well, 100%. Like I loved it. I loved the idea of I just wanted to, like, the whānau unit was epic. Yeah. You know. Whaitihi, Puanaki. Yeah, I loved.
What was the reason for
learning Māori?
Okay.
Yeah, and the kapaka.
Cool.
And the principal at the time, Graham Plummer, I think was his name. Like he was the man. You know, he was like highly respected, and yeah, like I think I did like a tour through there, and yeah, it was just like, this is the place. There was just so much about that school that was great. Like, I remember when I was like back in the diagnosis chat, like starting to take the meds, like, you know, it was like, because of it was like a, you know, restrictive medicine, and there's like maybe it was like 2 of us that were on an intermediate, you know, you kept it a secret, you know. It's kind of, you know, you're like, oh, I'm taking medicine, you know, shame. Yeah. So, you know, I used to hide pill packets, you know, like I wouldn't even throw them in the rubbish just in case someone seen me do it, you know. So my pockets would just be like loaded full of them, you know, like empty pill packets, one full. You're like, but then, yeah, when I got to, I don't know, there was just like, I don't know, like I felt like I wasn't the one with the biggest problem. You know what I mean? Like I met these amazing people that, you know, like who come from a totally different life than me. You know, we all shared the same values, you know, like when we were in the classroom. When we were under that watchful eye of Te Puanaki, far out. There was no misbehaving, that's for sure.
And did you take music at high school?
I didn't take music till I was in year 12.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get into the art class. The art teacher said my drawings were offensive. And looking back, yeah, it probably were. Yeah. So that was a no-go. And I kind of played a little bit of drums, so I went and asked the music teacher, and they were like, sure. It's like no prerequisite to get into there. Yeah, but I did like year 11 music in year 12, still failed. But that was it. Yeah. As soon as I got into that music class, that was it. There was nothing else. Yeah.
Year 13, music was it for you. You dropped kapahaka. You said ka kite anō to whaitihi.
The whole lot, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I went from the whānau to the mainstream. Oh, yeah. You know, found different, you know, like other people that like music just like I did, you know, like I was just like this whole new stimulating world that I know it was kind of, I felt like it was like a, you know, when you're like, oh, you know, you find your purpose at school, you know, and that was it. That was the game changer. Yeah. And then I went to jazz school.
And that's where you met Tim May.
Yep. Met him walking into the big room one day. He was like already a beast. Yeah. Like on the piano. Like when I seen him play, I was like, damn. When I was there, like there was like a pop course, and then there was the jazz course, and like, yeah, I did the jazz course. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you love about it?
Like-minded people. You know, some of my closest friends still to today. Like, we shared those halls together. Yeah, it was just where I was meant to be, and that's when I was sold. I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. At jazz school, you go down quite a large rabbit hole with the blinders on and jazz, and there's nothing else.
Oh yeah.
Like, people are listening to something, you're like, what is this? What is this reggae?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this? What is this hippity hoppity? You know, what is? That's not fast enough. You know, yeah.
How many years were you in jazz school?
Too many. I was there for like 4 years. Showed up to theory class one day in my second year, and someone was describing something to me, and I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then I remember talking around, and I was sitting next to like the person in the class who was like the brightest. She was the matataua of the music theory, yeah. Like this, just the Don. And she turns around, looks at me, and goes, "I have no idea what they're saying." And I just went, "Later," you know. I need to go get some help, because if y'all can't understand, I am well down in the toilet. Yeah. It was very competitive, which was great. You know, it was humbling. You're made to work hard, you know, but you're also told that if you didn't, then that's on you. You know, the results will show. And they didn't give you a participation award.
Yeah.
You had your student number on the board, and you had a percentage next to it. You know, and when you see someone get an A+, that's what you strive for. Yeah. Yeah. It was a good feeling when I got one too. I was like, oh, my God. I was really lucky. There was only me and one other guy in my year that played drums. So, yeah, it was such a good environment. It was also great at the time because there wasn't very many male singers. So I got heaps of gigs singing. Cool. It was great. So so I doubled down. Yeah,
because you got a mean voice, man.
Thank you.
Did you ever get singing lessons?
No, just the odd one. You know, I was in a band that was gigging like every weekend. Like you do that for 2 years, you know, even though it was some of the same repertoire, kind of, it's no better upskilling than actual doing the thing. I got some lessons along the way to help me, like, you know, for like warming up and, you know, how to think. One of the best lessons I ever had was actually like when I started actually becoming a recording artist, being in this, like the difference between a live singer and being in the studio is like you've got to have a different way of like performing and capturing your vocals. So I think I learned way more then. So then, you know, you get on stage and you translate that to a live sense, you know, you get it just opens up your range of thinking. Yeah. So I've been very fortunate to, you know, like my singing's taken me places I never thought I'd go. Yeah. And doing awesome things.
So you leave jazz school, then what happens?
One of the things that back then at jazz school was like the hype, like the hype thing was to get on the cruise ship, you know, travel the world for free and get paid. Yeah. You know, my reading was appalling when it came to reading music, so I spent like a summer going through this like book that you were recommended to study if you wanted to get on the ships, and that was a very non-stimulating event. And then I got a call from a friend of mine saying, "Hey, do you want to go on tour, play some originals music?" And I was like, "What's that?" You know, yuck. No. But then I did it. Far out, and it was awesome because the band I was playing with, they were doing the whole North Island with Salmonella dub. Sure. Like every, you know, big, like went from playing Fat Eddie's to, you know, playing the Mangawhai Tavern, you know, like these like big outdoor, you know, huge gigs. Yeah. And that taught me lots. Had all the chops and all the gear, but no idea, you know. So it was like had all the training, and then I got dumped into it. And hit the ground running from there, and I haven't stopped.
Before you were Dillastrate, you were in
Soul System.
Yeah.
The Merchants of Flow.
Yes, yeah. Merchants of Flow. I remember you in that one.
Yeah.
I remember Soul System too.
Yeah.
They were mean.
And Ahuri Buzz.
Ahuri Buzz. Oh my God, yes. Rest in peace. He was like another Māori Jimi Hendrix, eh?
only person I've ever met who can sense fear.
True.
He had the best ever quote I've ever received. He was like, "Don't ever let the environment own you. Own the environment." And unless you've played to a crowd of 10,000 plus, and you experience what that environment is like.
Oh yeah.
The pressure of 50,000 people watching, the environment, the air, like everything is completely different. You know, it's the noise, the pressure, the people, eyes on people. You know, like it's something you can't be trained for unless you do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that was his thing. Was because I remember one show, I think I let the fact that I was in the band and what they were doing get to my head, and that almost cost me the band.
Really?
Yeah. I played the first show. It was a massive show. It was awesome because it was when Shapeshifter were the big thing in New Zealand, and we were touring the country with them. And I was like, what? You know, like,
what a vibe.
I know. We did the first 2 sold out nights at the Big Top here in Christchurch. Massive. And the first night, I just crapped the bed behind the kit. Sarcastically, I messaged him, just trying to, you know, because I just stopped talking to me, and I was like, oh God, here we go. And yeah, I remember getting this like 9-paragraph reply, but it was great.
Oh yeah?
Because I could have either taken that and tucked my tail between my legs and pissed off, or got defensive and stood up for myself and the fact, or I could heave that advice and show up the next day.
Nice.
And I did that.
Nice.
For then on out, he was like, yo.
Mean.
He also used to talk about, like, if you have the ability to do music, therefore you are a servant to music, so you have to serve the music before you serve yourself.
Nice.
And he's like, that's all I care about. Get up there, play your heart out, have fun, don't screw up.
Yeah.
And, you know, have a good time. He's like, that's what you're here. He's like, I'm not just hiring anyone, but the people I do hire, I expect them to do the job. And surely, you know. So, yeah, that was, greatest teacher I've ever had. Yeah.
What other NZ bands have you played with or opened for?
Oh, I think all of them now.
Far out.
Yeah.
Catch Fire.
Yeah, heaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. LAB.
Cora, of course.
Yeah, Cora. Fat Freddy's. Going to up north next weekend to jam with the boys in Corella.
Yeah, they just composed a waiata.
Yeah, with LAB for the Matatini.
Yeah, Matatini. Which made me think of your guys' waiata. That was the official waiata for the cricket. Yeah. 2024. Yeah. The billboards everywhere around Christchurch. Ko tātou te ahi. Bro, I loved that waiata, and I loved the fact that you filmed it in Ngā Hau e Whāmarae too, with your bro Tiki Tāne.
Yeah, the man.
Let's talk about that music video, because it was one of my favourite waiata of your guys, of Dillastrates. Yeah. But then I love the fact that you brought it back home to Ngā Hau e Whāmarae, which is, you know, one of our central marae here in Christchurch. It's based in Aranui.
One of the things that people don't know, we filmed it there, yes we did, but what you see is also what you hear. So we recorded it live in the studio, in Ngā Hau e Whā. So when you tell people that, they're like, oh, I thought it was just a music video, you're like, no, I set up all of that stuff just for some lip syncing. So, you know, we rehearsed it, you know, 8 or 9 times. Then everyone got changed, and then we filmed it a bunch more.
Because if you're from Christchurch and you watch that music video, you already know straight away that's Ngā Hau e Whāmarae. Yeah. Everyone has memories of that marae. Yeah. And the beauty about that marae, obviously it's called Ngā Hau e Whā, is because it's for all iwi. It's not a ngaitahu, just a ngaitahu-based iwi, it's for all iwi. My toa actually helped not build the marae, but clothe it with those tukutuku panels. Yeah. So thanks for putting my toa's tukutuku panels in your music video.
Worries. I'm so glad that actually, you know, spent a lot of time trying to contact people to try and lock that in.
Yeah.
Because it had to be there. Tiki and I spoke about it when we floated the idea to him first, and he was like, yeah, we could record that, or we could do it in a cool environment. And I was like, yo, I've got the idea. We'll go to the marae and do it. Yes. And Zoe Hunter, who did I'd never heard her sing it.
No.
The BVs had never sung it together.
What?
Burke from One Drop, who played guitar, we'd never heard him play it.
Oh my God.
I just sent it out and was like, yeah. But that's the thing, like, yeah, and then everyone got I remember going to Zoe, I was like, can you sing me the chorus? And then she sang it, I was like, yep.
Wow,
we're good.
what?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd never heard them sing it, but what made you choose them for it?
I don't know. Just that knowledge of, like, and the trust that you have in a group of people. Like, it was a curated group.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice. So you already knew they had the goods?
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Yeah, the first time I ever heard Zoe Hunter sing, I was like, why is this human being in New Zealand and not, like, on the worldwide circuit?
Yeah.
And, the BV girls that I had at school, I knew that they were going to be the business. And obviously, then it was just all pressure on Tiki, which he does need because he's the man. Hemi Hoskins, being the real wizard.
Yeah.
Tom O'Connor, being the engineer. Our team at TES, Technical Event Solutions, who's Jamie and the boys supplying all of the beautiful lighting, and had 2 film crews going, one for White Anthems, another for just the music video in general. It was a busy day. It was a busy day. And of course, our bro in the MC duties, Mr. Louis Mill.
How long have Dillastrate been established as a band?
About 7 years now. Tim and I just decided, let's just do this together. It's fun, and we obviously not just the two of us, Jamie as well. Yeah. He's been with us since day one.
Cool.
And yeah, then we just I think we hadn't even come up with a name yet, and we booked tickets to Wellington and Auckland just to see if it was viable. Yeah. And it was. Nice. We just loved the idea of performing, and it just became what it is. I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah. Don't think too much about it. Just have fun.
You're definitely a showman.
It's the ADHD. Oh, it is. Don't have to try. It just happens.
It just happens.
I've got to go on stage. All right, let's go.
Well, tell me about some of your fave gigs and stuff like that, or collabs, people you've played with Dillastrate. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Does that still happen for you?
The Eric Nam tour. He's this massive K-pop artist with an artist called Keenan T. He's a Melbourne-based singer-songwriter, and I played drums with him around Australia. It was my first ever tour around Australia. Like, I played the Roundhouse in Sydney, I played the Palais Theatre in Melbourne, and the Fortitude Valley Hall. 3 massive venues in iconic locations. And then closing off at the Auckland Town Hall, all sold out. They were highlights for me. It was different style of music. Playing just drums, what I've always trained for. It's been great, a lot of time away from home, but it's worth it. 2019, of course, I did a show in the UK with Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones. Like, that was obviously that's bucket list shit. Yeah. And it was even down to the fact that the bro playing drums on the gig plays drums for Ed Sheeran. Just a whole rich tapestry of stuff. There's been some pretty hectic moments, like singing a Bob Marley song with Catch a Fire, to far out. Yeah, like the cricket, like singing your song on a global broadcast, like even down to singing the memorial for March 15th. Yeah. Doing Jacinda's Wata, Wata Tautoko. it was pretty heavy, but pretty honourable, honouring and humbling to, really put life into perspective. Been some pretty awesome moments.
Yeah. And I want to go back to what you were saying when I said you're a natural showman, and you were saying, that's the ADHD. So does it help you perform?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's one thing with ADHD, it's like, it's that whole hyper-focus thing. Once the stimulation's on lock, whatever that is, then it's all over.
So you've used it to your advantage?
Yep. Because I've always, I didn't actually know, like, as I was like, why do I, through all the study and, things and, like, performances, like, everyone talks about persona and stagecraft, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm doing this. Where's it coming from? And then, sure enough, you do enough digging and enough research, you realise you're like, oh, I know what's catering to that.
Have you ever felt in your life bad about having ADHD?
Oh, for years, yeah.
Yeah?
100%.
Was that brought on by other people or just yourself?
Oh, a combination. Like, it was like, I didn't think there was anything wrong with me.
Yeah.
And then you get told there was something else. And here's some pills. Therefore, you're labelled, I guess. I had a few teachers that would definitely play into that thing if they needed to. Like the, have you taken your pills today type chat? And you're like, all right. Like, the stigma's like a real thing. So many people I know with ADHD who, there isn't a problem with them. That's the thing. There's no problem.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. It's someone else's problem, not yours. It's just someone doesn't like that. I'm just going to attach that to it. Categorise that thing. Or document it as that. Yeah. So many of us spend way too much time worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
No one cares. No one's actually going to do anything. No one helps you. You only can help yourself. So I literally do not care what anyone else says.
Yeah.
If someone's got a problem with it or they've got an opinion about it, that's their problem. When things get hard and life gets tough, more often than not, you're the one pulling yourself out of the shit. The people I work with, the people I perform with, they've always held me up for who I am, not for what I do, and they celebrate me for my ADHD and for how I speak out. So I don't care. I've made a life out of the thing that I promised myself I was going to be, and no one's changing that. Nice.
Is there anything you'd like people to know about other whānau members with ADHD?
Support. It's not hard to uplift someone.
Kia ora.
Everyone has feelings, right? Some people display them, some people don't. But it's like, it's not what you do to someone that they remember, it's how you make them feel. And I'm a firm believer of that. Someone can say something in just a passing comment to someone and not have any thought about what they've said, but it can literally affect that person forever. Life-altering shit. And it's easy to smile. It's easy to laugh.
You actually use more energy being negative against being positive.
Yeah, 100%. And I've been down the road. I've been down the thing where, you get stuck in that tall poppy frame of mind and, you fixate on the wrong thing, bad cases of the negative bias, you get 10 opportunities or 10 gigs and one of them falls through and all your energy goes to the negativity of that. Yeah. Why did I lose that one? Not worrying about the fact that I got these other 9, Life is just so much easier if you just get along.
Kia ora.
Have a laugh. Don't stress the small stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What type of legacy would you like to leave behind for your daughter?
I was a happy dad.
Nice.
And she can't have the car. No. No. The legacy I leave behind for my daughter, oh no, just memories, happy memories, making memories together. Something that she, if she decides to have kids one day, hopefully that, she can look back and be like, oh, this is what my dad did with me. Yeah, that's the legacy I want to leave.
Henare, thank you so much. This has been such a mean kōrero with you. Understanding ADHD way more, learning about, and I just love learning about people and their journeys and their stories. And I thank you so much for your time today, brother.
Thank you for having me, bro. Thank you.
That's another episode of Tahu Talks, whānau. If you enjoyed that kōrero, leave a comment, push that like button, get our ratings up a little bit. If you got anything negative to say, just keep it to yourselves, all right? Subscribe to the channel as well, and see you next time. See you, bye.